What's up everyone, this is Skycedi, and today we're going to compare the cost of living in Korea with the United States. If you're new to this channel, welcome. This channel is about Korean culture related content and also my experiences here in Korea. So make sure you smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos. Now, I've heard from many different people prior to moving here just how expensive it is to live in Korea. And so I thought it'd be interesting, now that I've been here for a little bit, to compare the price differences of Korea to where I lived in the United States. And ultimately, at the end of the video, I'll let you be the judge. Now, before we get started, let me throw out some disclaimers. This is a general comparison based on my experiences, and so I'm gonna keep everything high level. Also, we have to keep in mind that just as cost of living varies from place to place in the States, it's the same thing here in Korea. And it must be noted that Seoul is one of the most expensive places to live in Korea. I'll be comparing the cost of living with the basic necessities with Korea and the United States. And it must be noted that the impact of the cost of living is really directly correlated with your income and your spending habits. So with that in mind, let's jump right in. For those of you guys that don't know, I live in Daejeon, which is the 5th largest metropolitan city here in Korea. So it is a bit cheaper than Seoul. So I'll be comparing Daejeon to where I lived in the United States. I spent the last 5 years prior to moving to Korea in Bergen County, New Jersey, which is right next to New York City. So it is one of the more expensive counties in New Jersey. So I'll be doing a comparison of the basic necessities and how much it takes to live in those two places. Oh, one last thing I need to mention is the currency here in Korea is the won. And so for the sake of simplicity, we're gonna do the comparisons in US dollars. 1,000 won or Chunwon is going to be equivalent to $1 US. So here's what we're gonna be looking at today. We're gonna be looking at housing and utilities. We're gonna be looking at transportation. We're gonna be looking at internet and phone. And lastly, we're gonna be looking at food costs. Now here in Daejeon, I have a pretty nice little apartment here. I have a studio apartment with a loft. And so that means that I have an extra space upstairs that is considered to be a sleeping area. It's not technically a bedroom. And I also have living space, and I'm in one of the larger studio apartments here. I'm gonna compare that to the 1-bedroom basement apartment that I lived in Palisades Park, New Jersey. Now, I don't actually have to pay rent since I am part of the EPIK program and I work for the public school system here in Korea. They actually provide free rent and free housing, but for the sake of comparison, a studio apartment in Daejeon is gonna vary depending on where in the city you live, but it can range from about $400 to $600 US. There are exceptions, of course. So an apartment like mine will cost roughly $500 US a month. Now, the 1-bedroom basement apartment that I lived in New Jersey ran me about $1,450 a month of rent. Yes, I said it, $1,450. Now, I know what you're gonna say, that's the cost of a mortgage. I could buy a house with that payment. Yes, I know. But again, keep in mind, this is one of the more expensive areas in New Jersey that I lived in. Utilities will vary depending on the season, and that goes for both places. Here in Korea, I'm running at about $100 US, give or take. And my situation is a little different because I do have a maintenance fee given that I live in an office tel. My utilities are a little more expensive than some of my fellow EPIK teachers who I've heard pay only a couple of US for their heating and gas. And so mine's a little more expensive, but still, compared to where I lived in the States, I was paying anywhere from $100 to $150 for my utilities. Now, let's move on. Phone. Everyone uses cell phones these days, and that's what I've been using for years. My cell phone plan here in Korea is roughly about $60 a month, and that's because I have a cell phone plan as well as a new phone which I'm making monthly payments on. And in the States, my phone costed about $130 per month for the plan and for the phone and also for data, and it wasn't even unlimited data. Internet. here in Korea. Now, I do have to mention that my internet and phone is bundled, so I am saving a little bit, but I'm paying around $20 a month for super fast internet here. And in the States, I was paying about $40 to $45 for internet for decent speeds in New Jersey. Now, let's talk about transportation. I don't use a vehicle here in Korea, whereas I did use a vehicle in the States, as well as public transportation. So let's compare public transportation first. Now, here in Daejeon, we only have one subway line that connects the city, and so it makes things really simple, and the cost of entry to ride on the subway is about $1.25. Whereas when I was taking the subway system in New York City, because I worked in the city for about 2 years, I was paying about $2.75 per entry. Now, taking the bus here in Daejeon is about the same price as using the subway. Now, for laughs and giggles, when I did drive in New Jersey, I leased a car and my monthly payment was about $265 a month. And not only that, but I had to pay for insurance, and my insurance was actually quite expensive. I was paying about $250 a month for insurance. And not only that, I had to fill up the tank with gas. And so I was spending about $100 a month on gas. So as you can see, I was spending a lot of money on transportation alone. Now, the cool thing is in Korea, you don't really need a car to get by, especially in the metropolitan areas. In New Jersey, I kind of needed a car to do what I had to do. So I had to have some sort of vehicle of my own. Now, let's talk about medical expenses. Again, gonna keep this high level. I haven't used medical services here in Korea just yet. I do plan on getting my checkups and my routine cleanings for dental and my vision and all of that taken care of. But from what I hear, per visit, it's about $5 to $10 with the insurance that's provided here in Korea. Whereas my insurance back in the States was running me about $25 for a copay. So every time I visited the office, I needed to pay $25. And depending on the services that I got in the States, I might have had to even pay even more out of pocket for whatever portion my insurance did not cover for whatever I went to the doctor for. Luckily, I didn't really have to go to the hospital a lot, so I didn't have to pay, but it can get pretty expensive, especially if you have different medical needs or you have to visit the doctor quite often. So medical care here is very inexpensive, especially compared to the States. Now let's talk about food. I've been in Korea for about 2 months now, and I'm ashamed to say that I have not once cooked in my apartment. I haven't even turned on the stove, so I don't even know if it works. That's beside the point. Now, comparing fast food, I would say the prices are very similar. There's not a big difference there. You do have your same setups to where you can get entrees by itself, or you can get what we call sets here, which is your entree, your fries, and your drink. You can get a full set for about $4. You could also do the same thing at fast food places in the States now with the dollar menu. I would say they're very similar. Now, here in Korea, especially in Daejeon, there's tons of restaurants and tons of Korean style food that you can get, and overall they're very inexpensive. You can get a hearty Korean meal for about $6 here, and it'll fill you up and it'll be more than satisfactory. Whereas in the States, if you wanted to get a hearty meal outside of fast food, you'll probably have to pay anywhere between $10 to $12 or even more. So I think generally you can get way more bang for your buck when it comes to Korean food here versus getting different American style dishes that's big and filling and that's not fast food. But that could be subjective. You can definitely eat really well here for cheap. Last thing I want to compare when it comes to food is Korean barbecue. Tons of Korean barbecue places here, and this is where they cook the meat on the grill in front of you. You can get gogi, daejigogi. You can get so many different styles of Korean meats on the grill, and it's heavenly. But let's compare the prices. Now, this is where I think there's the biggest gap. Now, in my area of Jersey, we had a lot of Korean barbecue places. I probably checked out most of them. The prices there are pretty expensive. If you wanted to go to a barbecue spot that served all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue, you're gonna pay at least $30 US, sometimes even more. I've paid $36 or even $40 for a all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue meal. Now, here in Korea, you can find all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue for $10 to $12, no lie. This is where I think Korea definitely takes the cake in the area of Korean barbecue. Man, so now I'm hungry. So that's pretty much what I wanted to compare. So as you can see, there are some clear differences in the cost of living in both places. Again, I'm keeping everything high level and also based on my experiences. A lot of this is subjective. It depends on how you spend your money, how you eat, and how you dine. I hope you guys found that insightful and valuable, especially those of you guys guys who are considering living in Korea at some point in the future, or for those of you guys who just want to visit and just wanted to get an idea of how much certain things cost. Also, I want to hear from you guys. Do you think it's expensive to live in Korea compared to where you live? Let me know in the comments below. Alright guys, if you liked the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and also share this video if you feel like it'll be helpful to anyone that you know. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, and hit that notification bell. Alright guys, I will see you all in the next video, and remember to always seize the day. Peace.